Welcome to Naked Faith, where we take off the masks, drop the performances, and get honest about what it really means to follow Jesus. I'm Ron, and these are my amazing co hosts, Grace and Michelle. And together we're creating a space for real conversations, real stories, and real encounters with a love that never gives up. No agendas, no religious hypes, just real people sharing how God met them in the messy middle and pointing to one truth: Jesus still transforms lives. So whether you're walking strong or hanging on by a thread, you're welcome here. This is Naked Faith. Let's get into it.
All right. Well, welcome back for all of you who are still here. You know, I was thinking the other day that we are almost at 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I know.
We've got over 20 episodes now, I think.
Well, 26 is the magic number.
Okay.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Because 26, everything I've read, if you can get 26, then that means that you're gonna stick with it. So we're almost there, right? But I was thinking we're almost, because it was this month a year ago when we started this, when we started recording. We started planning this before that, but I mean, we actually went live a year ago, middle of June. So we got to do something really cool for our 1 year.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we can figure something out.
Yeah.
Maybe we invite some guests back.
Ooh.
That's a pretty good idea.
I like it.
I mean, can you imagine a conversation with like Tiffany and Angie and Vivian?
I know.
All on the same podcast?
That'd be really cool.
That would be really, really cool, wouldn't it? Maybe we should do that.
I think we should.
Okay. I'll reach out to them and see if they're all available. Say, hey, we got our 1 year year
Are we including that in our episode?
What's that?
Are we including all this in our episode? Just like the
it can give them like a heads up.
1 year.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Look for an email from us.
They might be listening and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm going to be busy that week." No, just kidding. All right. Anyway, so let's get back on topic. You're right, Grace. Let's get back on topic. So, all right. So tonight, so as we've been following our thread on learning more about Gnosticism or Gnostics, and I was listening to a bunch of podcasts today, and I've come to the realization a lot of people don't like that term. And so I haven't quite figured out what they call it, but it was a term given because, you know, the early church wanted to paint them as heretics, I guess. And so it's a negative term. But anyway, tonight is about wisdom, and where we were going to go was talking about the Sophia, which is the wisdom. But I feel like we've talked about that a lot. So, but I do still want to talk about wisdom in the sense of how do we translate some of these things and what do they really mean? And I think that really gets to the essence of wisdom. So there's a guy on Substack that I follow, and his page is called Earth Mastery, and his name is Nabu, and he grew up in Baghdad. And so I think he lives here in the United States now. This guy has a very heavy mastery of Aramaic. And so a lot of his articles are taking like what the Bible would have said in Aramaic and translating that to English. Because, you know, his theory is that Jesus would have spoken in Aramaic and not Greek. So when you think about the translation of the Bible, what Jesus spoke would have been recorded in Aramaic, and then it would have been translated to Greek. And then when we got a hold of it, it was translated to English. So you got, you know, 3 different translations, and you're trying to get the essence of what the Aramaic word meant. And then, you know, from Greek to English, right? Which is really, really hard. So anyway, the first one that he wrote this article called What Yeshua Really Said. And it's the 10 teachings of Jesus and what he really said in the Aramaic to English, right? And kind of saying, hey, this is what the Aramaic word really means. And then when you understand that, like it totally changes like how you read some of these scriptures, right? So the first one is, we're all familiar with the Beatitudes, right?
A little bit.
A little bit? Yes? No?
The attitude. You said the attitude?
The Beatitudes.
No.
Blessed are the poor in spirit.
Yeah.
For theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So there were 10. I think it was 10. Don't quote me. So I don't remember. But I think there were 10 things that Jesus, the Sermon on the Mount, basically the Sermon on the Mount are the Beatitudes. Yeah. So the Beatitudes came out of the Sermon on the Mount, right? So the first one he said is, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Now, I don't know about you, but I have always struggled with this verse. Yeah. Because, I mean, if you think about this in English, right? Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So, I mean, I don't know. When you hear blessed are the poor in spirit, what does that make you think of?
I feel like I've actually maybe recently studied this, or in the last year or so. There was a period of time, I think almost a year ago, that I would kind of do a little bit of, not Bible study, but devotionals on an app that you can do. And so it was connected to the Bible, and it was actually on this series of the Beatitudes. Mm-hmm. And so just from thinking on that, blessed are the poor, you're just starting with the first one, blessed are the poor in spirit. Mm-hmm. I think it was about how when we're so broken down, or we're so lost, or just very down, and in a way it's we're able to find salvation in God and the kingdom of heaven and that kind of thing.
Interesting. What do you think, Michelle?
No, I'm kind of the same. And I think it's almost you might not agree with it, but I think it's almost a great passage for our podcast, because the whole intention is finding people who are, who found God when they were broken, and when they didn't see that life was worth it anymore, type thing. So, and that's really where you find God, is when you don't have any other choices left.
Mm-hmm.
So what if it doesn't mean that?
Why don't you tell us what it means?
Well, okay, so I think about what you just said, and I will finish reading the article. Trust me, I'm going to get there. But I think about what you said, and I think this is one of the issues I've had with the version of Christianity that we've been taught our entire lives, which is pain and suffering, and the only way out of pain and suffering is to find God. Right? I mean, it's essentially what you both just said. But this statement in English, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So when I first hear this, I think about poor in spirit is exactly what you said. Life is miserable. It's awful. Why do I continue to live here? You know what I mean? It's just, it doesn't paint a very good picture. But then the second statement of that is, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And so to me, you're like, oh, so if I sit around and complain all the time and I'm miserable about life, then I'm the kingdom of heaven is mine. Mm-hmm. But yet then you tell me that the only way to find true joy in life is to find Jesus.
Right. And it's not everyone lives that way either, you know.
Yeah. Correct.
It doesn't have
So it's a contradictory in terms, right? You're telling me that I'm going to live a life of pain and suffering because that's what we do. But this is saying that as long as I'm suffering, then the kingdom of heaven is mine. But yet you also then tell me the only way I can find joy in my life is to find Jesus. And that doesn't seem right? So if I find Jesus, then why am I still suffering? Right. Anyway, so here's what it really means, according to Mr. Nabu from Earth Mastery, that the word in Aramaic, I can't say the word, but it's tubwehan, and it means ripe, flourishing, in a state of genuine aliveness that comes from alignment with reality.
Can you repeat that?
It means, so blessed, the Aramaic word for blessed is tubwehan, how you say that. It does not mean approved by God or rewarded for virtue. It means ripe, flourishing, in the state of genuine aliveness that comes from alignment with reality.
Okay.
So he goes on to say, the Aramaic word for poor here describes someone who has emptied themselves of the constructed ego.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I feel like that was what I was trying to explain, but in not the right words or something. Like, that makes sense to me.
It makes sense to me now, right? Because if I think about blessed, so the blessed are the poor in spirit. Well, okay, so it goes on to say the teaching is not about humility as a performance. It's about what becomes possible when the constructed self stops filling every available space.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like, who can I be if and when I become nothing? Or if it's like, if I'm not thinking about who I am and instead just doing and creating, like, what can be possible? I don't know why that's what came to mind, but yes.
Well, no, I think that's great. I mean, because I think about like if in all those programs that we've been through, Grace, together, like what do they tell you? Like if you come from a space of nothing,
Right.
what is in your future, right? It's kind of like if you put the past in the past and you're not living, if your future is not dictated by your past, then what does that leave in your future? Nothing.
Right. And yeah.
And what can you do with nothing?
Everything.
Anything you want, right? And so to me, reading this, it puts a whole nother spin on the Beatitudes. Because you think about every one of the Beatitudes starts with blessed are the, and then it goes on to say something, right? So if you're thinking about the word blessed meaning being coming from a space of nothingness, right? Like I'm putting my ego aside and I'm coming with complete openness. Now think about that. Just think about that, okay? And I'm going to read it again. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So if we know that blessed means thriving, flourishing, coming from a space of nothing, does it change the meaning?
Let me make sure I get this. This is right in my head. So essentially, we forget what we do in the past because it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect what we are planning to do in the future.
Okay.
Maybe.
So let me, no, I understand what you're saying. So let me explain it in a different way.
Okay.
So often in life, our past isn't in the past.
Yeah.
Our past is in the future. Because who you are, how did you get to be the way you are?
From what you've done in the past.
Okay, so past experiences, right?
Yeah.
All the ways that you are today can be attributed to something that happened in your childhood.
Yeah.
Something happened that created who you are today,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Are you following me so far?
I'm following it.
Okay. So an example would be like, you could probably go back and look at, okay, so you're shy and introverted. You said you don't like being around people.
Yes.
Because somewhere between 5 and 7 years old, something happened to you that made you not like to be around people.
Okay.
And that event has been dictating your life forever.
Okay.
And so it's a matter of being able to reframe, who we are as people.
Okay.
So we're not living in fear, kind of thing.
Right. So when I say the past is not in the present, it's not making who you are today, it's making you who you are in the future, because you're living your life. Your future self is dictated by this event that happened in the past.
Okay, that makes more sense.
So here's an example, and I'm going to use some landmark examples on this, right? It'll make sense. So if you think about your planning a vacation, right? So you've been planning this vacation and you bought the ticket. Okay, so for instance, you guys are coming down to Disney in September, right? September? Okay. So what have you been thinking about this entire time?
Disney.
Disney, right? It's all excited. You're so great to go, right?
Yeah.
Now, what's going to happen the day before you have to come back home?
We're all going to be sad.
Why?
Because we're leaving Disney.
And you're coming back to what you're coming
reality.
back to this. You're coming back to reality, right?
Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying? You're not your past, you're living your future is based on your past.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Your past self is the future you're living into. And that's running the show. That's dictating the show. So if you put the past behind you and it's not there anymore, what does that leave? Nothing.
Nothing.
And then what can you do with nothing?
You can live your full potential.
Anything you want, right? You can create anything you want at that point.
Okay.
So
it's
in this
so much
instance,
no, sorry.
Go ahead, Grace. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it's so much about like healing, being able to heal and to just be present, like fully present in the moment, so your mind is not elsewhere, thinking about, oh, what do I look like? Where, like, what are they doing? You know, whatever it is, it's like it doesn't matter. Like, just being present is the most important key thing.
So here's what he goes on to say. So I wanted to take a moment to explain that because this next part is critical. So what Yeshua or Jesus was actually saying is fully alive and flourishing are those who have emptied themselves of the ego, who have created space inside of themselves rather than filling every moment with the constructed self. The divine created reality already belongs to them because they have stopped blocking it with who they think they are.
So that what he's saying is just the phrase "blessed are the poor in spirit."
For the kingdom of heaven is theirs.
Yeah.
So if I'm fully alive and I'm flourishing and I'm living in a space of nothing, I have creative energy to create. I have divine creative energy to create what I want. Does that make sense?
It's almost like not running on autopilot or something. Like you're able to be present with yourself in your body. Like that's something I've been focusing on maybe, or learning. It's just like being so present in my body, of like being really where I'm at in the moment. So I'm like in tune with reality, I guess. Yeah, something to that extent.
So does that change things? When I say, blessed are the poor in spirit, for the kingdom of heaven is theirs.
Yeah, I think so.
Does it change the meaning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like this is the wisdom I'm talking about, right? Like this is the wisdom of, okay, wait a minute. You know, going back to what I was saying last week, right? Like the world is not supposed to operate this way.
Yeah.
But we've been told that this is how it is. We've been told that pain and suffering are the way it is, and the only way to find joy is through Jesus. But this is saying something completely different. This is saying pain and suffering is not the way to go. This is saying let go of your ego, let go of yourself, and create this space of nothing, and then go create.
Yeah.
And the kingdom of heaven is yours because you are divine.
And that's something you cannot replicate with AI.
Yeah, true. Exactly.
No ChatGPT for that one.
No, because we are the ones with souls. Like, there's so much more to that. So, yeah.
All right, so here's another one. I'm not gonna read all 10 of them, but here's another one. Because there's one that's been my coin phrase, right? So, the kingdom of God is within you. So what is that? What do you think?
I think of our divine energy as human beings that we can all tap into. And it's like feeling the life force energy of Earth almost. And that connect. We're all connected in some way, whatever it is. And there's different ways to label it. I think of it more as a energetic force kind of thing. Yeah, that we are all able to tap into our unique individuality. We all bring and offer something special in our own ways. And it's like our divine energy kind of thing.
I like that. I like it.
So most translations won't say within you. They say among you. The kingdom of God is among you.
Yeah, that's not helpful. Like that creates more separation, you know what I mean? When it's
exactly,
when reality is something we can tap into ourselves.
Correct.
Yeah.
So right. So that's what I'm saying. So when they say words have meaning here, right? So when the translation in the Bible says the kingdom of heaven is among you, that has a whole different connotation than the kingdom of heaven is within you.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. That's, to me, that's just another wisdom part. So, what was Jesus actually saying? He goes on to say, stop looking outside yourself. Stop waiting for the divine reality to arrive from somewhere else. The creative intelligence of God is not in the sky or in the future or locked behind the doors of an institution. It is inside you right now. It has always been inside you. The work is not to find it. The work is to recognize what is already there.
It's like being able to tap into our own creativity or life in general. I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have the potential to be whoever and wherever we want to be.
All right, say that again, because
Essentially, we have the potential to be whoever we choose to be, and not what everybody dictates us to be.
So what does that do for Michelle that doesn't like to be around people?
I don't know.
Does that change your perspective on life?
I mean, yeah, it really does.
Does it give you the power to want to create something new?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah. Gives you the power to, how you always have like those crazy ideas. And our family has a really bad habit of doing this, but we all of us have like these really crazy ideas and none of us act on them. And it almost makes you just want to.
So what's stopping you?
Nothing now. Myself.
Yeah. But yeah, that conversation just reminded me, like, it's Pride Month now, and that, like, whole phrase is, like, exactly, being who you are to your fullest potential is, like, the whole celebration of Pride Month, Just another little connection, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just be free to be you.
In every way.
Yeah. Okay.
What were you going to say, Michelle? Sorry.
I just want to go back to our episode of being your true, authentic self.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's all it is, but it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
True.
Very true.
Okay, but why? You say that, so why? Why is it easier
said than done? Because we get triggered all the time.
But why do you get triggered?
Because of, it's an emotional reaction to something that reminds us of something that happened in our childhood. That's all it is, and all
there's
healing
that childhood
is
again.
Right, and it all stems from that, which is crazy. It's just like being able to, as you get older. I was saying this earlier outside of the episode in another meeting, but like as we get older, we continue to learn and continue to grow. It doesn't mean we just stay at one state of being at a certain age. It's like the older you get, the more you learn, the more you grow, and it never stops. Like until you feel like your life is complete. And I just think if we all saw it in that way, there'd be a lot less pain and suffering, maybe, if we were and if we were able to face reality the best way that we can. And because I feel like that's all it is like we get triggered all the time, And over time, you learn to actually heal through those triggers so it doesn't affect you anymore. You're able to like reframe stuff, reframe your thinking of like out of fear and into something in a more growth mindset. Yeah.
This is kind of a crazy conversation to have right now. This is
Why? What?
Well, it's funny. So the other day I was sitting there thinking, one of my dreams has always been to be an author. Like I've always loved writing. I took a couple creative writing classes like in high school and college, and I just never thought that I was good enough to do it. So the other day I sat down and I wrote like 80 pages of a starting of a novel. And I've been like, this has been in my head for like a couple weeks, or probably longer than a couple weeks, because I think I've told you guys this before. So, but today I actually like sat down and I was probably at the computer for like a couple hours, and I like wrote 80 pages of a novel. It's not good right now, but it just, I don't know. That's why this conversation is kind of crazy.
80 pages of a novel.
Beforehand. Yeah, like beforehand, I probably wouldn't have done it because I would have been like, oh, I'm not good enough. Like my teachers always said, you need to like do better on this or whatnot. But I've pushed all that aside and just did it. Whether it gets published one day or not, I don't know. But just the satisfaction that I let all of those childhood traumas go and just did it is huge.
And that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, we learn so much more by just doing than thinking about what could happen. Like,
But I think that has to do with the ego, right? In letting go of the ego, because our ego dictates a lot in our life. I mean, the competitive nature, like what was I thinking? Oh, earlier, Grace, when we were talking on our group call, right? Our good friend, I'll give a shout out, Michael. His life has just been crazy. The things he's been doing in the last year is just amazing, right? And one of the things he said was that, when you empty yourself of your ego and you just try to be authentic with people, amazing things happen. And so it's kind of like, Michelle, like, I don't know. I mean, we could probably spend a whole episode trying to delve into what these childhood traumas were, but like, and I mean, I don't mean that to be in a despairing way, right? But I'm saying like there's these things that happen, and it's dictating who you are in the future, and that's part of your ego. Like ego doesn't have to be, I think I'm the best person in the room. Ego can be, I think I'm the worst person in the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It can be good or bad, right? Like there could be the overbearing ego where like, nobody's as good as me. Why am I even wasting my time with you guys? Or it could be the opposite of that where it's like, I'm not even worthy to be sitting here with you guys.
Yeah.
Right. But when you let all that go and you come into this place of emptiness and you're not letting that dictate who you are in the future or who you are today, like the whole world starts to open up for you. And then it goes back to what I think you were saying earlier, where I'm no longer worried about what people think. I'm just going to be me. I'm just going to be who I am. And this is my authentic self. And either you like me or you don't like me, but it doesn't matter. It's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's the healing. In my mind, when you say healing, Grace, that to me, that's what healing means.
I get that. Yeah. Michelle, I wanted to ask you what made you want to finally sit down and do it?
I don't know. Like I just it was weird. Like it was just something that just told me, hey, you just need to sit down and write this.
Divine inspiration.
Yeah.
Because you have the spark.
Yeah, I had the spark.
The divine is in you.
Do you mind sharing like a little bit of what it's about? Just the story you're thinking of, or even just the genre?
Well, I've always been particular, like some of my favorite books to read are romance novels, so it is a romance novel. But yeah, that's all I'll share for now. We'll see how far I get into it. Maybe one day it'll be on, the bookshelves. Who knows?
Yeah, no. I mean,
if not,
anything can happen.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah. And but I love, because you're doing it for yourself. You're doing it for you, just to like actually have something of yours that you've created, and you already seem to have the mindset of like, it doesn't matter if people read it or not. It's something for me, kind of thing.
Like, I'll probably get it, like self-published, so I have like a copy of it. I don't know I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Right, yeah, for sure.
The world is my oyster at this point.
Exactly. So I started writing one too. It's actually funny that you said that. So.
See?
And what's yours about, Ron?
Yeah.
Mine's a fictional. It's kind of fictional, but it's based on all the stuff we've been talking about. So.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have our books on the shelves together.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll be a different.
No, we're going to start Naked Faith Media LLC, and
there we go.
Because we're going to turn this into a business. This is going to be our jobs.
I'm planning on it.
Oh, I know.
It's funny. It's kind of random, but my boyfriend, he keeps saying, he's like, I just know you're going to be a professional podcaster one day. Like, he's just like, there's no doubt in his mind that is actually going to happen. And I'm like, well, okay. I mean, he just stepped in the door.
Okay, so since we're in the space of creating, wouldn't it be cool? Like, I've thought about this, right? Because there's other things that there's other podcasts that I would do outside of this one, because it's not the theme, right? Like, this theme is we're trying to stay, spiritual, right? But there's other things that I would talk about, like what would really be cool, and Michelle's gonna laugh, but if my brother and I did a podcast together, I mean,
oh my gosh, that would be so good.
The things that we would talk about would be off the charts.
Would it be like a comedy podcast, or like philosophical, or what?
Oh, philosophical.
Philosophical, conspiracy theory.
Okay.
There'd be comedy in there too, though. There'd be some humor in it, but
yeah, they have some funny stuff. But yeah,
I mean,
I can see it.
No doubt. Like, when him and I sit down and talk, sometimes we'll talk about absolutely nothing for hours. And it's like it's kind of like really weird, because the conversation will start here, and the next thing, an hour later, I'm like, I don't even know how we got here, but we got here, right?
right, yeah. I know a friend of mine, we talked about doing a podcast at one point in time, and that was actually before we had started our group, this podcast. So I've always, thought about trying to do that again, or go back to that.
All right,
I loved your Instagram post the other day when you said it was something about, I'm a podcaster or something.
Oh yeah. I had like done a little reel or whatever of like myself while I was editing the last episode, and it was just like, even though our podcast is technically small right now, it's just like, it's still something. I don't know. I was just kind of proud of myself in that moment to like really see it as what it is. So yeah.
So I was going to ask, though, he said, I see you as a professional podcaster someday. Like, what is the definition of a professional podcaster?
I would think getting paid for it. I don't know.
All right. Well, tell him to hold on, because we're going to get there.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to go into the next one.
Okay.
This one is, when I read it, you guys will be like, oh, okay. Love your neighbor as yourself. So you've heard me say that a lot, right? Okay. So the Aramaic word for love is hub, and it does not mean affection or sentiment. It means a specific quality of awareness in which the boundary between the self and the other becomes permeable. To love the neighbor as the self is to recognize that the consciousness looking out through your eyes and the consciousness looking out through theirs is the same consciousness expressing itself in different forms.
That's speaking my kind of language for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So then he goes on, because this is the way he structured the article, right? He tells you, and then he says, what Yeshua was actually saying. The person in front of you is not separate from you in the way you think. The same awareness that lives in you lives in them. Treat them the way you treat yourself, not because it is a moral rule, but because at the deepest level, there is no difference between you. The boundary you feel between yourself and others is real at the surface. It's not real at the root.
Yeah. It's like, I've thought about this a lot, of just how every person is a reflection of ourselves, you know? And people treat others the way they treat themselves, as far as what they see in others, whatever it is. It's like we're all reflections of each other, just like living our lives, kind of having the same human experience, but we have our own way of living and doing and expressing.
Yeah. So on my drive today, I was listening to another podcast, and the guy said something, and it really got me contemplating, right? So he says, they were talking about in Genesis, right? We are made in the image of God. And so I think for me, that's another one of those hard concepts to understand. What does that mean, the image of God? So like, when I was younger, I remember the discussion, like the word image made me think like, oh, we look like God. But clearly that can't be the case, right? Because there are very few people that look alike. So unless you're an identical twin, I mean, there's really nobody else that looks like you. You might have people that are similar, or, we all have a doppelganger that exists somewhere, right? But they're not an exact copy, right? So like, so when I think of image, well, it can't be that we look like God. So then, I ponder this a lot. What does that mean by image? We're made in His image, and so like, I've told you guys from the beginning, this is the one passage that has always stuck with me. Love your neighbor as yourself, right? So it puts a different perspective on it, because I'm thinking it's, when we were talking earlier, Grace, you were talking about healing people. We just need to heal as a society. And I think like for me, that makes that more in line with what you were saying. Like, how did he say this? The person in front of you is not separate from you in the way you think. The same awareness that lives in you lives in them. To love the neighbor as the self is to recognize that the consciousness looking through your eyes and the consciousness looking out through their eyes is the same consciousness. Like, to me, that's powerful. And it changes how you view people. For me, anyway.
Yeah. I feel like I've had that viewpoint for a couple of years now, so I get it. Yeah.
I feel like I just got this. Like, I mean, probably within the last year, last maybe year and a half. And so I don't know, like, it's just this one, when I was reading this article and I got to this one, I was like, okay, this is like my life motto right now. I love this, because to me, it just, if we could all do that, what would the world be like if we could all just look at people and think, at the root, we're all the same. We're coming from the same consciousness. We're just looking at it in a different way. Is that what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a lot of nuance there for sure, but totally. Yeah, I get it. And it's a matter of people being conscious and aware of that fact, in a way. I think there's a lot of people that don't think like that at all. That people only see differences and on all sides in every way, with everything going on in the world right now. It's like, yeah, I mean, in some ways we're all the same, and it's hard to look at other people with that kind of empathy and perspective.
For sure. So, based on what you just said, I'm going to go back to something we said last week about the veil.
Mm-hmm.
The archons exist to keep us ignorant,
Mm-hmm.
and they put the veil over us, and they keep us from seeing who we truly are, our true self. And what you just said sums up a lot. At the end of the day, the controversy that exists in the world, the self-imposed exile from reality, is a choice that we make because we don't want to see through the veil. And I think, to me, that's a miserable life, to sit there and say, I mean, I've heard stories of people, like, they stop talking to their family members because they have political disagreements. And I just think that's just bizarre to me.
Well, it's hard for a lot of people to be around their parents in that way because it's a matter of like a lot of politics is about basic human rights. And if you're related to someone who doesn't really support basic human rights, it's really hard to live with that in your life, and they, cut them off. And I think that's the main. I mean, there's all these other little things, I'm sure, specifics for each situation, but I think it boils down to that kind of generalization.
All right, I'm going to say this in a different way. I think no, I mean, I hear what you're saying. Let's take, how do I want to phrase this? All right, well, you say a lot, protecting the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say climate change because I don't think that's really the root issue, but how we treat the planet.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we would all agree that we should protect the planet. I mean, it's our home, right? It's physically our home.
Mm-hmm.
And if we keep destroying it at the rate we're destroying it, then we may not have a home. And I think a lot of us, outside of the greedy elite, see this as, I like a park. I like to see nature. I don't want to live in a world where there aren't animals that I can see in their natural habitat, right? I don't want to have to go to a zoo to see the creatures of the world, right? I want to be able to, I mean, as annoying as they are, there's a lot of deer in my neighborhood, but it is still cool. It's still cool to, drive down the road and see a family of deer standing in somebody's yard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, like right behind my house is a conservation lot. So big, large conservation area. I mean, large in this for Florida, right? But it's big enough that there's probably, I would say there's a herd of deer that live in that conservation area. And they all come out at night. And so, I mean, the other night, like, Grace, Florida does a lot of these tract homes. My neighborhood is a tract neighborhood, but it was designed that some of the houses are like the old style. So like the garages are in the back and not in the front of the house.
Mm-hmm.
The street that my house is on, to get to the garages, they put an alley in the back. So there's a 1-lane alley that goes behind, and then we all can get to our garages from there. And then behind that alley, right behind that, is the conservation area. Okay. So the good thing is nothing will ever go behind me because it's zoned to always be a conservation area. So they can't build or put any houses there. But now on the other side of that conservation area is another neighborhood. But it is a large area, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the other night I was coming back from somewhere and I turned down the alley and I started driving to my garage. So like if you come down the entrance of the alley, my house is like the 5th one down. I think, I don't remember. I mean, now I just know which one it is, but it's like the 5th one down. So, you got to drive down past these houses, but there was a deer standing at the edge of the forest right on the alley. So at first it was annoying because I was worried the deer was going to run out and trample my brand new car. But but when it didn't, it was kind of cool to sit there and watch the deer, right? Because the deer looked, and I mean, it was sad because he was afraid, and I get it, but how cool is that, right? And this is a nightly occurrence in my neighborhood. It's not like it's a rare thing. I mean, these deer, you see them all the time. Like, and that's what I'm saying. I don't want to live in a world where I can't, like I say, it's annoying because, well, let me tell you why it's annoying. Little side story. when my son got his driver's license, or when he was 15, he was about to almost to be 16. We were we were trying to decide what kind of car to get, or we knew we needed another car because he was going to start taking over one of the cars and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I bought this used Mercedes. It was used. So trust me, I didn't go out and buy a brand new one. I will never, ever, ever, ever buy a German car again, but just to let you know. But anyway, I bought this used Mercedes, and it was nice. It was probably 7 years old, but it was still nice. It had a lot of nice features in it. And anyway, I'm driving down the road. So my neighborhood. So the other thing about my neighborhood, it's what we call a planned neighborhood. So like the architect designed it to be like, I don't know. Do you know what, when I say Mayberry, does that mean anything to you? Either one of you?
Not much.
Yeah, I get it.
It sounds kind of familiar, but I'm not sure.
So think of like a whole like town, right? Mm-hmm. There's a downtown area where there's a lot of shops and restaurants and things like that. And then there's doctor's offices and the grocery store. And, there's like commerce in this downtown area. And it's a big gathering area. Like the neighborhood will throw these parties, and once a month they block off all the streets. And so you can't get down there. They block off streets so that they can have these big parties, and they do fireworks and all these things, right? And so anyway, when you come out of the downtown area, because I live at the very edge of the whole neighborhood, there's this straightaway that goes down to a circle, and then you take the circle and you come into my house, right? So anyway, I'm driving down the straightaway, and this was 8 years ago now, 8 years ago. So anyway, I was driving down the road heading home. I think I ran to the grocery store. So I'm driving down the road, and out of the corner of my eye, I see this deer come like darting across 3 lanes of traffic. Mm-hmm. And the moment I realized it, the deer smacks right into the side of my car. Oh, I mean, at full speed. Mm-hmm. Bam! Hits the side of the car. And then I'm stopped. I'm freaked out. I mean, he put a crater-sized dent in the car, knocked the mirror off, broke the window, and there was blood all down the side of the car. Mm. But I couldn't find the deer. He was gone. I don't know where he went, right? And I was like, what the heck? Anyway, the car ended up getting totaled because this is what they do nowadays, right? We don't fix cars. We just total them and then buy new ones. But anyway, so that's where I say, annoying, because now I'm driving down the alley in my brand new automobile that I haven't even had a year, and I see this deer, and he starts to dart, and I'm thinking, don't hit my car, but it's still cool to see the deer.
Right.
Yeah. And so anyway,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think about stuff like that, and it's like, the deer came first, and the roads our very recent invention. It's like we're invading the deer's home and environment. And I know there's obviously highways now with plenty of fences and stuff, but I like to see I think they're called land bridges for wildlife to be able to go over highways. And I just wish that was more common so that stuff like that doesn't happen.
No, right. And so that's where I was kind of going with this, right? So protecting the planet. Now, I think what muddies it is we get into this discussion of climate change, and we get into the discussion of, what's naturally occurring and what's not naturally occurring. And I think this is what caused, the powers to be have turned this into a way to cause controversy, to cause us to be divided.
Yeah, it's to keep us distracted so we don't actually change things for the better.
Right. Because, there's been historical evidence that came out, people talking about the icebergs melting in the 20s. Mm. You know what I'm saying? And so if the icebergs have been melting since the 20s, then why here are we in 2020? Now we're making this a big deal. And I'm not saying it's not a big deal. I'm just saying it's now you got people coming out and saying, well, the whole world's going to end in 15 years, right? And it's I don't know that that's true, because again, I don't feel like they're telling us everything. So here's another example. My son, who's the same age as you, Grace, a year younger than you. So we went to Iceland a couple of years ago. And that was one of my bucket lists. I wanted to see Iceland. He wanted to see Iceland. So when he graduated college, we took a trip over to Iceland, and then we did this cruise around Norway and all this stuff. So it was a really amazing trip. But while we're in Iceland, him and I, the first day, you get in at like 7:00 in the morning, and having done a lot of international travel, I was telling my family, like, don't go to sleep, because you just need to plow through the day so that you can regulate. And then, you try to stay up till like 9:00 at night and then go to bed. Right. Otherwise you're going to take a 5-hour nap and then you're not going to sleep at night. Anyway, so he listened to me. So him and I, the other parts of my family did not listen to me. And of course they were up all night, but anyway, what do I know? Anyway, so him and I went out, as soon as we got in, we got the luggage in the Airbnb, we got unpacked, we took showers, so we could feel refreshed. And then him and I went out exploring, because we're like, we only got like 3 days in Iceland. Let's just go see all the stuff. Well, they had this museum in downtown Reykjavik. And so him and I went into the museum and we're walking around. It was really cool, right? So they had this like ice cave inside the museum that they had, done and all this stuff. But he's very in tune with the environmental, like one of his classes in high school was environmental science. And so he got really in tune with like the stuff that's happening. And so, the kid got straight A's, and he took AP environmental science and got a 5 on the AP exam. And so like, when he says things, I kind of tend to, like, I trust what he's saying, because, he apparently really paid attention to this class. Right.
Yeah.
So we were talking about this, and, he said to me, he's like, Dad, I don't know what they're making a big deal about. He said, because technically we're at the end of the ice age. We're still in the ice age. And I was like, what do you mean we're still in the ice age? And he's like, the ice age that supposedly killed all the dinosaurs, right? That started when the meteors hit the earth, blah, blah, blah. He's like, we're technically still in that period. And I was like, okay. He goes, they're technically saying we're now at the end of the ice age. The ice age itself is ending. So he goes, so when you see the glaciers, like in Iceland, they're melting, it's naturally occurring because we're at the end of the ice age. So apparently before the ice age, they were not glaciers, right? That's what he was trying to say. Like, this is all part of the earth recycling itself. This is a natural occurrence. Now, he also says, there are things that we are doing that are not good for the earth.
Yeah.
But this sort of stuff is all natural, right? And so I was like, that's interesting, because, we haven't always seen eye to eye on environmental things. But I do love, he's another one that, it's funny, Michelle, like, him and I can have the same kind of conversations that your dad and I can have. And they're really, it's kind of cool to be able to have that, And so when he starts philosophizing about things that, I know that he knows a lot about, it's really fascinating to listen to him. And I tend to believe him, because I know he knows, if you knew my son, he's a very, he researches things a lot. Like, he's going to know everything about everything. You know what I mean? So, like, to have him tell me all this stuff, it was really fascinating, because I didn't know any of that, right? I would have, if you'd have asked me if we were still in the ice age, I would have said, you got to be out of your mind, because we're not covered. Earth's not covered in ice. But this is the result of the end of the ice age. The ice is melting. Now, I don't know if that means that the North Pole completely goes away. I'm not that into it, but you see what I'm saying, right? So, like, that's the wisdom part, like, understanding. And then I think that's also where you're going. There's this controversy that's created because it's a topic that divides us, and it's exactly what you said. I'm just going to rephrase what you just said. It's meant to distract us from what's really going on.
And what's really going on, Ron? I'll ask you that question.
That's a whole nother episode. Well, this is where I say, people call me a conspiracy theorist all the time. And I say, you got to really pay attention to what's going on. So every time that the world's most famous politician does something, it's to distract you from what's really happening. There's a hidden something going on. What's going on behind the scenes that these events happen, right? Like, what is this? What is that? What is they trying to distract us from?
What's from changing the system that we live in? That's what they're trying to distract us from, because
I mean, it's possible, right?
Because the capitalist society that we live in exploits people so much, and they don't want the people to have power more than they already do. And they want to keep them low so that we're just working for the corporations and the elite, and that's it. You know?
A well-informed society is the worst thing for a powerful government.
Mm-hmm. And why do you think AI is a free tool that anyone can have? You know? Because it can dumb people down.
True.
Like,
yeah. I mean, that makes sense what you're saying. Yeah, I think it finally clicked me. All this time you've been saying that, it finally clicked.
Hey, if I did something, glad it was that.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah, that's interesting.
The conspiracy theorist needs to sit with that for a minute.
Well, no, it's true though. I mean, it's true, right? It's like I've thought about this. It's like really weird because when I was explaining to my son one day, I was like, this all started in 2020 when we're all sitting around because we can't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like I started getting these ideas. Like I just want to disconnect from the world. I really just want to. I don't want to participate in the world anymore. I just want to find, like this is where the idea of a sailboat came up. Let's just buy a sailboat and sail around the world because then we don't have to deal with anything, and then we morphed that kind of into let's go buy, let's create a family compound, and we'll just cut ourselves off from the world and we'll all live in our little compound, like all these ideas came up. Oh, I totally forgot where I was going with this.
Talking to your son about stuff like that?
Yeah, I forgot. You said conspiracy theorists and
okay. Can I share something?
Go ahead.
Now?
Yeah, go ahead because it'll come back to me.
Right. It's just about the sailing around the world thing, and it's funny because I recently started following this account on TikTok. It's this woman, Kelsey. She's like the first American woman to sail from California to Hawaii by herself. And so it's been really interesting to follow that journey because I think she's only like 2 weeks in right now, and it's supposed to be like a 3-month long journey at sea. And it seems like the first week was really hard, just with how the weather was and how the wind is. Like, yeah, and it's nice to see now that it's a week later and things are getting easier for her. I'm just excited to like follow her journey with that. But it's just with your dream of sailing around the world, I just, I would love for you to achieve your dreams. I just hope you know the realities of like dealing with weather like that. Cause she's like rowing. I think that's the point.
She's
like,
rowing.
She's rowing. Yeah.
Yeah. She's rowing. So, she's not sailing. She's rowing. She's the first woman to row by herself. Yeah.
First American woman. Cause I think she always makes a point of that. And I think there's probably someone else who's done it before, but yeah.
Oh, okay, I know where I was going.
Okay.
So hold that thought because I'm going to say something to you. But all right. So in our discussion, I was describing what I like. Oh, wouldn't it be great if we just had this society where we're, instead of like the capitalism, we all exist to help each other. Like if I'm a farmer, I'm going to grow food and I'm going to provide the community food. And if I'm the hunter, I'm going to hunt, the animals and I'm going to provide the community with the meat. And if I'm the carpenter, I'm going to that's my contribution. I'm going to go build things for people blah, blah, blah. And I was describing all this and he looks at me and he goes, well, welcome to socialism, Dad.
Literally. Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I mean, you're not wrong, right?
It's like, I think people just really hate labels. I think that's the biggest issue. It's like, if you think about the fundamentals of what these things are, because I'm like, that could be communism as well. And it's like, it's just people really, because there's been bad examples in the past of these things, but that doesn't mean it's a complete failure, but whatever. Because capitalism is going so well. So whatever.
Well, no, you're right. But I mean, okay, so there's a good point. Exactly what you just said. So here, most of my life, I was a hardcore conservative. And you talk about socialism, and I'd have been like, that's the stupidest thing ever, right? Mm-hmm. But in my mind, I'm thinking, I want this society where we're all just helping each other out. So in reality, I'm describing a utopian socialist society of what I want. But because the powers to be made socialism a bad name,
yeah,
and you tell me I'm a socialist, I'm going to get offended.
But it's democratic socialism, especially, is what would be. I mean, that's what a lot of other countries already are, and I mean, not to get too much into politics, but I mean that is what like Bernie Sanders stood for, and what Zohar Mamdani stands for. Like they call themselves democratic socialists.
Yeah, but you understand what I'm saying, though, right? Yeah. Like, you know, there are people on one side that have made that whole idea of a society where we're all just existing, where we're coexisting together, and we're helping each other out. Even though we talk about that's the perfect society, but when you put a label on it and you negatively connotate that label or positively connotate that label, depending on which side you're on, then that's when the veil happens, because it's meant to distract us, what you just said. But in reality, again, let's go back to that saying. If I recognize that the consciousness looking throughout my eyes and the consciousness looking out through your eyes is the same consciousness, just expressing itself in different forms, it takes the stigma away. Then it says, okay, evil politicians or whatever you are, do what you want to do, because that's not what I believe.
So essentially, we all just want the same thing. It's just how we get there is different.
Yeah, and how it's labeled makes things harder.
Well, I think when you put labels on it, and then depending on how you manipulate the label, that's what causes the controversy. Because, most of us, again, it's what you just said. We all want the same thing. I think at the core, we all want the same thing. And, we might have slight disagreements, or we might have different ideas of how to get there. But are they really that different that we would have to, divide societies over this?
Yeah, I know. But then it makes you think, it's like, if we all want the same thing, how could people think that a certain someone would be the one to get us to that point?
Because they have brainwashed us. Again, think of the archons. They put a veil over us. They keep us ignorant. Division is money. Controversy creates money. Right. This is how they control society.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, it's unfortunate, and I'm waiting for it to change. I'm like, all right, it's 250 years, America. When's the revolution happening? Let's get on it.
I wish we could just have somebody in politics that is more neutral than anything. That will take what's good from the Democratic side and what's good from the Republican side and just figure out a way that it all just works. But
can I ask then, what do you think is good from the Republican side?
Okay, we're not going to turn this into a political discussion.
I'm just curious. I really don't know, but
we can do that offline. There was something you just said that triggered a thought. What is it with me tonight? All these, and these were awesome ideas, and I just can't remember them. At least they were in my head. They're awesome.
You gotta write them down.
I should write them down. The problem is, as you were talking, it came into my head, and now.
Okay. I thought you meant earlier today or something. No.
Yeah, no. You said something. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I want to.
Was it something I said or what Michelle said?
One of you. I don't remember.
Well, that doesn't help.
I think it was something you said, Grace, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. But
I don't know. Labels?
Anyway.
I don't know.
All right. So I'm going to wrap this up because we're at an hour. So I think the wisdom, when I talk about wisdom, I think it is going beyond what they want you to believe, or like even in just the three examples I brought up in the scripture, right? Like what we were told it means may not be what it really means. And if you think of it in a different perspective, if you seek the higher consciousness, it changes how you view that, right? Like, I don't know, did the explanation of the three that I picked, did it change your perspective of what you believed that those passages said before?
I think so. I feel like it enhanced it a little bit more, you know?
Yeah,
In a way.
I think it
Yeah.
explained it differently than what
Mhm.
I thought it meant, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just
And-
feels
and that's-
more like it just feels more natural because it's
Mhm.
the original language. Like it makes more sense.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, that's the thing when, like, the blessed is the poor, right? When I read his explanation, I was like, oh my gosh, for 40 plus years, I've been thinking, like, I don't know what that means, but I've been going along with it. And you just explained it in a way that actually makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's different than what we've been told.
Yeah. And then it's like, just to add one tiny little thing, because when you were talking about that Substack, I kept thinking about Carl Jung and how his big
Mhm.
thing is like the whole collective unconscious mind, and that's like the psychological aspects. And it's like if we have that consciousness, that connected consciousness, the collective unconscious is like, I guess, those parts of the ego that you try to like heal through and stuff, and it can show up in a lot of different ways. And something I'm particularly interested in is like the dream aspect of it, of how that can show you like reality in a different light. And but yeah, it's a whole other thing, obviously, but it just it felt like there's a little bit of a connection there with the whole consciousness thing. So yeah.
Yeah. And Carl Jung was an esoteric Christian. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Which I didn't know a lot about the guy until I started getting into this, and I was like, oh, maybe I need to start
And
reading.
he's not perfect. Like I think I've read stuff about him having an abusive, life in some ways, so he's not a perfect person. It's complicated, but
Okay, but we all have. Well, none of us are perfect. I mean, we all have
yeah.
things that we did or said, or that we regret or wish we could go back and redo. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I'm going to go back to love your neighbor as yourself. If I recognize that the person that I'm looking at is coming from the same consciousness that I'm coming from, it's just in a different form. It helps me get past that, oh, that's an evil person.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that there aren't evil people in the world. I mean, anybody that would do heinous things to other people for fun are just evil.
Yeah.
And they're not on the same plane as us. But again, most of us, I think, are remotely awake or recognize that there's, I think the general population, the majority of us recognize that there's that we're all on the same plane, I guess is really what I'm trying to say. We just have different ways of looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway.
Yeah. It's just
all
this time period, I guess, in history feels like the Great Awakening of society kind of thing. But
for sure, agreed.
And I think it is actually connected to astrology in a way, of like it's the age of Aquarius, because I think Pluto is now in Aquarius. It's a whole thing. That's also a whole thing, but we got to wrap up. So
I actually wouldn't mind exploring that, because I don't know. I've always thought that was kooky stuff.
Oh my god, I would love to like get your guys' birth charts and like try to interpret them to the best of my ability, because I'm no astrologer, but I have basic knowledge of like some things. So
I've always been like fascinated by that.
Mm-hmm,
okay, let's do it.
Yeah. All right.
Wrap us up, Michelle.
All right. So you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all the social medias at Naked Faith Podcast. If you want to hear more of our thoughts from this episode or previous episodes, you can follow us on Substack at Naked Faith Podcast. And if you would like to join our conversation, we would love to have more opinions. Shoot us an email at nakedfaithpodcast@gmail.com.
Great.
All right.
See you next week.
See you next week.